07.
Yeah.
If you hire local businesses, I mean, there's got to be some value in that. And I'm a believer in doing whatever you can to do. I don't want to criticize the VFD. They made the decision they made based on what they felt was right for them, and that's their business. But I do think, I think we have to always be thinking about that. My wife asked me last night. She noticed, I think she was reading an article in the newspaper. She actually reads the newspaper.
There you go. She doesn't listen to your radio show, but she reads the newspaper. That's a good woman.
But she was, oh no, she listens to the radio show just in case I ever ask for food. So she opens the door quickly. But nonetheless, so she was reading the newspaper, and it was an article, I think, about the Stone Bridge, the Monument Place Bridge, where I guess it's a Pennsylvania company doing that too.
Well, and if you look,
and my wife said, how come a Pennsylvania company's doing this?
Yeah. Well, and if you look, when you think about the I-70 project, now that's a massive project. You have to have a certain level of size and expertise and just have to be a big general contractor. But even you go back years ago when the city of Wheeling passed over a local lower-priced bid on a new website for a company, I believe, in Colorado that was 3 times the cost, and quite frankly, the city's website is nothing to shake a stick at. It's a good functional municipal website, but I don't know if it's worth 2.5 times the cost of what they would have paid otherwise to a local company. Ohio County Schools has this new messaging app, the Ohio County Commission and Ohio County Schools. Those are both done, I believe, by out-of-town firms through the bidding process. But it is interesting, and I know for some things maybe we just don't have the expertise in a small community here. But again, I go back to and we gave a lot of grief to the city over using a Colorado firm to build its new website, and it really is. There's nothing about it that makes me think it's worth 2.5 times what a local company could have done.
Yeah, I'm that's now that goes back a number of years, and a lot of people forget that. But that's a really good point. I remember that quite well. And as you say, we have some excellent IT folks around here who can develop websites, who've developed award-winning websites, all that, and they know what they're doing here locally. And by locally, I don't just mean I mean right here in the city of Wheeling. And yet they went out of state for it. And you really hit a good point, John. I'm not trying to.
Thank you, Howard. I'm
going to get a text from the mayor, and I'm just. I can feel it coming now. If you go out of state or out of the area and you get a really better deal, not that deal, but a better job, that's one thing. The city's website is okay, but it's no better than okay. It's not a gangbuster, wow, what a great website it is.
There's nothing, okay. When I go on it, there's nothing about it that makes me think that, wow, this was worth an additional, we're not talking a huge amount of money, an additional $30,000 or whatever it was.
Right.
So I think, and those are just always interesting things, and that's kind of where this whole Bethlehem VFD discussion had me thinking last night and this morning is, obviously, as the Bethlehem Volunteer Fire Department is not necessarily a public body. They can pretty much do what they want. It's a private entity. But we always want our public officials to be good stewards of the money they're entrusted with, without a doubt. But there always is as well that concern when we have people here who are looking to work or who can do the job is that a little bit of wiggle room that they do allow you in the bidding process of, I think it's 5% or something like that, if I recall correctly. Of always keeping that in mind, if you can find a local company to do it, that's always got to be the first preference if they're close. As you said, the 1.4 million, that bid is pretty much out. The one that was 1.3, you can make the argument maybe that was close enough to talk with the contractor, work with it, and I don't know. But it, I think it just raises a bigger overall point of, how we award bids, how we look at bids in the public arena, and just always remember, if we can, doing the work locally and having local people who are going to, who when they get paid, that money's going to be back into our communities. These folks from Salesville, my understanding is they're generally an Amish, contractor. They're going to take their money home with them. They're not going to, they're not going to spend probably any money here, individually. So it's, so that has to factor in as well. It's much like we talked, one of our topics today is the Mitchell plant. Is the Mitchell plant necessary for the future? Well, yeah, when you look at the $435 million local economic impact it has, sure, those are important things. And so I didn't want to get too far off the topic or the agenda today, but it's interesting.
And I do think it ties to the Mitchell plant, which we can just lead right into in a second. But I think it's a really important point. There is the phrase that often is used is lowest and best bid, and the question becomes, what's the best bid? It may not always be the lowest. It may be the lowest, and best bid may be a different bid than just the purely lowest bid. And again, I'm not here to suggest that the fire department made a bad decision. I just don't know enough about it. But you had 3 local and 1 out of state. I think you could have worked a little harder to find a way to keep the business local. I just think we always should try to find a way to keep our business local to the extent that we can. And sometimes you can't. And sometimes the difference in contract the bids are so dramatically different, you have no choice. You have to pay attention to the dollars and cents. But if you're in a range where you can work with it, and okay, maybe it costs a little bit more, but is it better for our community to have local people employed and spending their money here? I think that's a pretty big deal. Now, I want to be clear in that Facebook post last night, the Bethlehem Volunteer Fire Department pointed out that they are using a subcontractors. Sure. A lot of them are local.
Sure, there will be a lot of money from that job floating into the community, and that's good. But I think the larger topic that we're trying to really hit on here is important to talk about and to think about as we move forward, because again, it's I thought Mr. Giffen had some very interesting points yesterday in his discussion, and me, I think while the free market should be allowed to work as it is, it's also important that we, again, when we can keep work local, we should do everything we can to do that.
And it does tie in, as you mentioned, to one of our first stories I wanted to talk about, which is the Mitchell Power Plant. Hearings before the PSC this week. The question is, do you keep the Mitchell plant open till 2040, or are they going to shut it down sooner than that? And we don't have to go into the background of it, but that's kind of the debate that's going on. If they're going to keep it open for the longer term, I thought it was interesting. Congressman McKinley this week said, why, of course there'll be rate increases. To keep it open is going to cost the citizens some additional rate increases. And I believe, I don't have the story in front of me, John, help me with this. I believe the CEO of the company said that if they did not shut down early, but instead kept it open to 2040, it would cost the taxpayers about $27 million a year. I think I've got that number right.
No. So that if they don't keep it up, to keep it open. Let me think about this a minute. That might be right. It's $286 million to keep them all 3 open through 2028, and retire Mitchell then and keep the other 2 open till 2040, and then $317, I believe it was, to keep them open through the end of 2040. Now, I believe that's an aggregate total, not an annual total, in the rate pay. But it really
but you divide it by the number of years. And I know I saw a headline that said, and I think it's right, it was $27 million a year.
Yep.
But the point then becomes, okay, let's accept that. That is a cost of keeping it open. But then becomes the question of what's the value of keeping it open. The Marshall County officials are saying, yes, but Marshall County gets a significant amount of income from the plant, and it creates jobs. So you got to judge those. And I don't know what the right answer is, by the way. I don't know how I would. I haven't come down on one side or another on this, because I think it's a really difficult decision to make.
Yeah, well, I think it's an easy decision from my standpoint, just because when we're looking at the future of this region, you've got hundreds of people and families that are directly tied to that plant. That plant still is It was just upgraded, 20 years ago with scrubbers. We're probably still paying for that. So I think the right move is to keep it operational. We've editorialized on that. I'm willing to pay a little more to keep people working. I'm willing to pay a little more personally to keep our, to continue to give our region a future. Now, again, we know that, long term we need to continue moving away, but, right now coal generates just by itself as much power nationally as all forms of renewables combined. So right now, 40% of all of our power comes from natural gas, 20% from coal, 20% from renewables, then a little bit of nuclear, a little bit of oil, et cetera. So, when we know which way things are moving, and we've all or at least I hope most of us have come to terms with that and working on that. But that doesn't mean you can just, we can't transition immediately. And I think that's where, Congressman McKinley and others are stepping in and saying, in 20 years we are not going to be ready to be moving away from this. So I think, from the standpoint locally, I think it needs to stay open because it's not just the Mitchell plant. It's all the companies that service the Mitchell plant. It's the coal mines in Marshall County that provide stock there. It's the Certainteed plant down the river that uses the fly ash to make drywall. There's a lot more tied into that than just shutting down a power plant. So I think, I think the right move is to keep all three through 2040. I really do.
And I would probably agree with you. Again, there's a cost to doing that, but you weigh the cost against the benefit. It's not always pure dollars and cents. There's other issues at hand, and I think you're right about that. I do think, though, and this kind of ties in with something happening in the legislature right now. What we have got to accept is that coal is on the decline. I mean, as a general comment, it's going out. It's not out, and I don't want to see it go out. It may not be out by 24, but we've got to prepare for the reality that we can't base our state economy forever on coal, which is why I think it's really interesting that the coal communities comeback plan has resurrected in the legislature. They talked about it during the regular session, and it got shut down pretty quickly, but it's back and getting some serious consideration now. Yes, we want to help the coal companies, and we want to support coal miners, but the communities that have been basing themselves on coal are going to have to find some new directions, and we've got to recognize it, and we've got to start planning for that. It's not to say that we want to get rid of coal. It's just we got to plan for a reality. At least I think so.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. And this is something that I think anyone in this state who thinks and can and reads and can judge the way the winds are blowing. This is something we should have been doing at least a decade ago. It's been talked about for a long time. We all knew this was where things were headed and how we were transitioning our economy and our energy production and consumption. And I'm not sure. Again, I think this goes back to what we've talked a lot about in the last 6 months with how this current legislature is operating in wanting to not look forward as much as we would like them to, and to be planning for the future. Again, I'm sure you could go back into the 60s and 70s, and people were urging the legislature to start preparing West Virginia for the future, and it just never really happens. We continue to just go in this circle where we'll have a good year of coal rebound, and everyone kind of points to that. Now coal. There are mines in this state that will continue operating. That have higher met coal and higher value coal, and but I think in talking to in just my conversations with people who work in the mining industry, they're looking at a future now where they may work 6 months a year and not 6 months a year, just to meet the demand that's out there as demand continues to go down. And we've just got to understand the realities of where the market is heading. And and again, I think now as we've gotten better production on renewables and natural gas, again, of course, at now 40% of all of our energy production, our electricity production coming from natural gas, that's a significant number. So I think that we've got to continue looking to the future. But the future is not in the next 8 years, which is why I think the Mitchell Plan, it's important to keep that running at least for the next 2 decades.
Right, but we have got to, as a state, we've got to be running 2 parallel tracks here.
Sure.
Yes, supporting those who have their businesses tied to the coal industry right now. Yes, recognize that coal is not gone. I'm not one of these ones who wants to eliminate the coal industry, the fossil fuels right away. But it's a declining industry. And you're right. We every once in a while get a little blurb that there's been an increase in coal. We go, oh, you see, it's going to come back. No, it isn't. It will pop up and pop down, and eventually it's going to fade away into insignificance. What do we do to plan for that day? Plan for it now so that it's ready when that day comes. John, let's take a break. When we come back, both the newspaper and this radio show had some explanation of the library funding in Ohio County that you and I have talked about the last couple of weeks. And let's talk about that. Plus, the city of Wheeling is... I guess they don't want any bing, bing, boom, booms. No fireworks on Fireworks Day by people in their backyards.
I think that's only one member of council now. Let's get that right.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It really is.
I don't know that it's one member, but I'm not sure that there's a majority vote there. I would agree with you. But we'll talk about it coming up next here on the Watchdog Morning Show. John McCabe with me, managing editor of the local newspapers here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 9:34, 26 till the hour. 72 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 73 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. It's the Watchdog Morning Show on WKKX and WVOI.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Dark.
Third innings against the Dodgers. 4 earned runs, 3 Ks, 3 walks. L.A. sweeps the 3-game series. The struggling 23-38 Pirates visit the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. It's game 1 of a 3-game series. Stanley Cup playoffs continued Thursday night. Colorado, the Avalanche, won the President's Trophy. Having the best record during the regular season, they will not win a Stanley Cup trophy because they were eliminated by the Vegas Golden Knights 6-3. Vegas wins that series in 6 games. How about the goaltender for Vegas? Former Penguin Marc-Andre Fleury in the nets. He recorded 30 saves in the victory over Colorado. Vegas Golden Knights will now face the surprising Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup semifinals. Hey, be safe out there. Be considerate of others. Check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Hi, it's Hoppy Kirchville. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock for Talkline. We'll talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia, top political figures, sports personalities, sometimes just plain folks offering their opinions on what's happening today. 10 till noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
In a hurry and need to see a doctor? The Woodsdale Health Center and Walk-In Clinic is located across from Little Caesars on National Road. Open 7 to 7 Monday through Friday. Patients can receive primary care, treatment of minor illnesses and injuries, wellness visits and physicals. There's also a lab draw station open from 8 to noon weekdays. A division of Wheeling Hospital, the Woodsdale Health Center is led by family physician Dr. Michael Wilson. Call 304-234-1971. They'll take good care of you.
McMecken. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kirchville, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. McMecken trusts the Watchdog.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley local news week in review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
18 to the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. John, you and I in recent weeks have both raised some questions about the decision by the Ohio County School Board 3-2 vote to reduce the amount of funding the school board provides to the Ohio County Public Library. I think you guys have editorialized on that. You and I have talked about it. I've talked about it a lot here. This past week, David Croft on this show and the three members who voted in favor of the reduction in the newspaper explained themselves a little more clearly than they have in the past. Did any of those explanations make you change your mind?
Well, ultimately, no. I mean, we had been. I'm glad that they did provide an explanation. It's good to see. Really nothing there that we hadn't known previously. But I don't think that it changes the underlying issue that the school board and the library for generations have worked together. And even though there was a legal mandate to do it, I think for many boards there was there was never a question on it because they understood why it was done and agreed with why it was done. This board is going a different direction, and they have some reasons why. They have some real problems going on. If you look at all the projects that are happening and being changed to stay within a budget, there's some real some other issues taking place within Ohio County schools in terms of, particularly where it comes to this building blitz that's going on now. So, and again, that's maybe a bad word to use. I mean, these are projects that were voted on by the public, needed projects in a lot of ways, but they've just come in much more expensive than what they initially were projected. So I don't find their argument is a plausible argument. But it's one of those things. As I've told Dave Croft, we can agree to disagree. But I just think that taking money away from the library now is the wrong move.
The argument boiled down to two or three things. Number one, there is no legal obligation to fund it, which I guess is true. Why did you reduce the funding? Because we can. I mean, that's certainly true. Number two, that the library can function on its own. It doesn't really need their funding. And I guess today that may be true. One never knows about tomorrow. One never knows what's liable to happen as time goes by. But the library doesn't need the funding. They can exist without it. So that's an option. The one that really I have a problem with is that the school board is only responsible for the school system and the school buildings. And I don't think that they consider how many Ohio County school students, and indeed the moral obligation to help all county students, use the library. I mean, the library is a critical tool for many of their own students, not to mention others as well.
This is what it boils down to for me in a lot of ways. School systems, it's not just here in Ohio County, school systems across the country, and maybe they're getting special training to push this message, I don't know, but school systems across the nation are taking almost and I'm not going to call it a cradle to grave because, once you're 18, you're done, but a cradle to college approach to how they care for kids. What used to be, the school system used to be the secondary, it used to be where you went to learn or to be educated. At home is where you learned. At the library is where you learned. You learned to love books. You learned to love reading, etc. School is where they taught you. And I think there's an important distinction there, and I have kids in the school system, kids who just got out of the school system. When I look every year at the kids who excel in Ohio County schools, almost without fail, those kids got their start, first at home, second at, programs at the library, and then the school system was there to supplement on the back end. School systems don't, I think the larger issue, school systems don't want to supplement anymore. They want to be, they want to start as soon as they can getting kids in and educating them. And for a lot of kids, that's a really good thing because they don't have the support at home. But I think the library, again, plays a hugely important role in a community Again, I think that Mr. Croft's argument that the school system itself doesn't get any value out of the library has some flaws to it, because you said, kids use the library. Kids go there to do research. They go to there maybe to use a computer. They go there for Wi-Fi. So I feels like the issue's kind of coming to a close. They've drawn their line in the sand and said, we're not going to change our minds, and that's okay. And I think the big thing now is, does this open a door that in a future board in 10 years decides that $500,000-$600,000 that's there now is needed for something else?
And I don't think it's a question. It opens the door, and I'm not sure it has to be 5 or 10 years. The question becomes, where does it go next? John, real quick, one last issue. You don't think this fireworks ordinance proposed by Dave Palmer in the city of Wheeling is going to go anywhere?
I don't. Normally when you see the level of pushback right away when it's introduced for first reading, it's usually a pretty good indication. Now, I may be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last time. But the anti-fun council, that's not what they need to be known as. So,
I got you.
Thanks.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you again next week. I'll probably talk to you before then, but we'll talk again next week. And in the meantime, have yourself a good weekend. We'll talk later. All right, thanks.
Bye.
Newspaper editor John McCabe with us here on the Watchdog Morning Show every Friday. It's the Round Table. Bippy, once again, have you noticed he and I used to fight all the time? How much we're in agreement anymore?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
He's coming to my way of thinking. I'm telling you, I'm bringing him over the line. I know he looks at it the other way.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I'm bringing him over the line. All right, we'll talk about what's going on in the Big Sevens newsroom. That's coming up next here on the Watchdog Morning Show, 10 before the hour, 72 degrees.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone?
Of course, let me know if Bob's on the line.
World's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
71 degrees at the airport, 73 degrees here at my home studio, 70 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley, looking for scattered showers on and off throughout the day today. And I see the airport is reporting rain there at the airport. I'm looking at least at cloudy skies. I don't see any rain coming down outside, but I could be wrong. It might be coming down. I just can't see it.
My computer, and Howard, this is how accurate this computer is. It has for the temperature 71.4.
Whoa, okay.
And it says the sky conditions, few clouds.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 71 is what Storm Tracker 7 says. They're recording at the airport with rain. And again, here at the home studios, 73 and cloudy. I can't see if it's raining yet or not. So, but that's the way it's been the last couple of days, Biff. I think I mentioned to Aaron earlier when we were out on our Teddy ride yesterday afternoon. You look ahead of us and it's a dark, rain clouds. You can see, it looks like a downpour coming. And you turn to the left and it's like, oh, beautiful blue skies and sunshine. So it's just, that's the way it's been and the way it's going to be, I guess, throughout the weekend. 6 before the hour. Bob there?
He just called.
All right. Let's check with Bob Westfall over at the Big 7, WTRF TV, for this Friday. Good morning, Bob. How did the job fair go yesterday?
Oh, it was fantastic. I appreciate all the help you guys did with it. Steady crowd all day. I'm sure our employers were thrilled with the people they got to come in and stop by. So it went fantastic. Everybody that came back from the sales department were just thrilled with the turnout. So again, thank you for helping us with that.
I was talking yesterday afternoon, actually late yesterday morning, with a friend of mine who's been looking for work, and he said as soon as he was done talking to me, he said, I'm heading over to the job fair. So I know that
Awesome.
folks are going there. So I went there. Hopefully it worked for everybody. Hopefully the employers got some people to fill the jobs they need, and hopefully some people got jobs they want.
I'm sure a lot of people did. I like I said, it was steady all day. Really good turnout. The employers were happy. The people looking for work were thrilled. So yeah, really excited and really happy. Really proud of our people that put that on yesterday. So just a fantastic job.
And now you've got some other project coming up. I just heard you talking about it on the air. What something else coming up?
Okay, I'm working from home, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't remember. I know I heard it's a Nexstar Media project of some kind.
Our Founders Day. Oh my gosh, yeah. Founders Day next week. We are working with Helping Heroes. We are collecting items. We're going to be collecting them at the station, and then also at the Respects out, I believe, in the Grove, but I'll have to double check that one. I know it's one of the Respects. But yeah, it's our Founders Day. We do it with all the Nexstar stations, almost 200 stations across the country, in honor of the start of Nexstar back in the day. And our particular charity is Helping Heroes. A huge and very important veterans group here in the Valley. Do a lot for veterans who are displaced or in trouble and things like that. Just moved into their new digs at the old OVMC. So yeah, I'm very excited about this project. I'm glad you brought it up. So yeah, so next week, you check our website. I don't have the information right in front of me. But
I know you're right. It is Respects in the Grove, but I don't have any more details than that. So
Catherine did a story yesterday on it. So I'm trying to pull it up on the website, but not having any luck. But anyway, coming up, I want to say it's next Wednesday. And we'll be
I'm
collecting
like you. I'm
items.
looking. I can't find it, but people can find it on your website, and we'll talk about it more as time goes by. Only a minute or two left. Let's see. What are you working on today?
All right, we've got a report of a kidnapping out of Belmont County. A construction worker reportedly found a woman alongside a road near Barnesville this morning. She is telling authorities she has been kidnapped. Did talk to Chief Deputy Zuzak this morning out of Belmont County Sheriff's Office. She was found on a really rural road right off of 800 near Barnesville. So that is being checked out right now. So that is a developing story, literally right into the newsroom just minutes ago. So I know DK's made some calls. I know we've got some calls out. So that's a developing story as we've got right now. So that's right now into the newsroom.
Yeah, I saw a quick headline on that on your website. So looking forward to learning more about that. Real quick, anything else?
We'll be watching weather. I know we've got a lot of rain in the area. I know a lot of counties around this area, to the north and to the east, had issues, actually to the south too, thinking of Kanawha County, had some flood issues late last night. I don't think anything's that bad for us, but there will be possibly some heavy rains. So Aaron's working on that now, and then Dr. Dave will be in this evening. So we'll be following that all day, because I'm sure there are going to be some heavier spots of rain today.
I see some rain is coming down at the airport, according to the Storm Tracker 7 app, and it rained earlier, and it looks like it could rain here at my home studios too. So it's going to be that on and off kind of rain. Bob, I got to run. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll watch things at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 statewide show throughout the day, and indeed the weekend. We'll be watching at WTRF.com, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, guys. Talk to you Monday. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Bob Westfall from the Big 7 checks in every day at the tail end of the program. And Biffy, I got to get out of here, but I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? After the weekend, I'll come back Monday morning at 7 o'clock and I'll go around to the big gig. Are you back with me?
I'll join you for another week.
Then we'll just keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
During the Trump administration.
Alrighty, Biff. Nothing scheduled for Monday, but I got a couple of things I'm trying to work on. I want to get Fluharty in if I can, and I want to get somebody on this coal community comeback. Got to get my C's in the right order. Coal community comeback plan, and I don't know what else we'll do, but we'll find something between now and then to make it happen. Any big plans for the weekend? Going to work at the house or? When are you thinking about moving in? I mean, soon or? Oh, okay. And you're going to paint? You can do some painting before you move in? No, that's the nice thing, if you don't have to move into someplace, if you're not under a deadline, it's the same thing I'm talking to my youngest son about. You got time, just, do it at the pace that makes sense to you. And when it's all done, you can move in and be happy. There you go. I get that. All right. I should be around all weekend. I don't think Teddy, I don't think I'm going to see Teddy at all today. He's got horseback riding, and then they're going up to Ogilvy to see his little girlfriend's mother is performing at one of the Ogilvy venues tonight. So they're going up to watch her. So I think I got a Teddy-free day, which is kind of sad. I miss the little bugger when he's not here. So. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, geez. go and do something. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right. Well, if you need me, I'm around all day and indeed all weekend. Otherwise, I'll just talk to you on Monday. All right. Thanks a lot. As always, appreciate it. Bye.
Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
Gunfire at a supermarket in Florida Thursday. A woman and her 1-year-old grandson were killed at a Publix in Royal Palm Beach. ABC's Victor Oquendo says we're learning more about the shooter.
Overnight, authorities identifying the alleged gunman as 55